Welcome back to my YouTube channel. We uncover the hidden treasures you might just have lying in your pocket change. And today we are diving deep into the incredible story of the 1989 D1-cent coin, a Lincoln penny that has captured the fascination of collectors, historians, and everyday enthusiasts alike, with a mind-blowing estimated value of $193 million due to its rare and intriguing errors, minting mistakes, and the astonishing possibilities surrounding its accidental creation that have transformed an ordinary-looking piece of copper-plated zinc into a veritable icon in the world of numismatics. So sit tight as we peel back the layers of history, error, and extraordinary fortune linked to this unsuspecting little coin that's rewriting the rules of what it means to find value in the everyday, starting with the Denver Mint's role in the coin's production. Because the 1989 D penny was struck at the Denver facility during a period when the United States Mint was transitioning and refining many of its coin production methods, resulting in occasional oversights and lapses in quality control that went unnoticed until much later. And one such lapse includes the infamous double die reverse, where the words 1 cent and e pluribus unum appear clearly doubled, giving rise to a jaw-dropping visual effect that is unmistakably the result of a mechanical misalignment during the die creation process, and collectors immediately recognize this anomaly as one of the most sought after mint errors, with only a handful of verified examples known to exist, which adds immensely to the value due to extreme rarity. But that's not all, because the 1989 D penny has been reported to exist with off-center strikes ranging from a subtle 5% misalignment to drastic 80% off-center examples where half the design is completely missing from the planchette, creating a surreal presentation of Lincoln's portrait vanishing into the blank void of copper surface. And these errors occurred when the planchette was fed into the striking chamber improperly, a rare occurrence that results in a highly collectible piece, especially when combined with other unique features such as full mint luster or original red color. And in some cases these off-center errors are paired with clipped planches, where a portion of the coin's edge appears bitten off due to a malfunction during the blanking process when sheets of metal are punched out into circular planches but overlap occurs, leading to what is known as a curved clip. And if one encounters a 1989 D penny that shows a dramatic off-center strike alongside a curved clip and doubling, then that coin becomes an almost mythical specimen among error collectors, and its valuation can skyrocket exponentially, sometimes reaching seven-figure offers in auction settings depending on condition and provenance. And what adds further mystery is that certain 1989 D pennies have been found with wrong planchette errors, meaning they were struck on metal blanks intended for other denominations, such as dimes or foreign coins, creating coins that are underweight, smaller in diameter, or silver in appearance due to being mistakenly struck on dime stock. And these wrong planchette errors are almost always the result of a stray blank from another coin series becoming lodged in the striking chamber of a different series, and the rarity of this happening is astronomical, with detection often taking years because such coins enter circulation and go unnoticed until someone examines their pocket change with a keen eye and a scale. And imagine the thrill of discovering that your penny weighs 2.3 grams instead of the usual 2.5 grams, a seemingly tiny detail that could mean the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing windfall. And then we move into the category of transitional errors, which are especially captivating in the context of the late 1980s and early 1990s when the US Mint was experimenting with different metal compositions. And although the switch from bronze to copper-plated zinc had officially occurred in 1982, there were still occasional minting errors that led to leftover bronze planches being used accidentally in later years, and rumors persist within the collector community about the existence of a 1989 D penny struck on a bronze planchette, which would make it weigh approximately 3.1 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams. And although these specimens are incredibly rare and still unconfirmed by some major grading services, even the possibility of such a coin existing has fueled a treasure hunt that spans across states, coin shows, and online forums, with collectors meticulously weighing thousands of 1989 D pennies in hopes of uncovering that elusive outlier. And then there are the more subtle yet equally valuable die cracks and die chips, where overuse and wear on the die leads to raised lines or blobs on the coin surface, often appearing around Lincoln's head, the date, or the mint mark. And While minor die chips are common, some 1989 D pennies exhibit what is called a cud error, where a large portion of the coin's rim is obscured by a raised, unstruck area due to a chunk of the die breaking off, and these cuds are visually dramatic and instantly recognizable, adding an irresistible appeal to collectors who specialize in die state errors. And speaking of mint marks, one of the rarest types of mint errors is the repunched mint mark, or RPM, and certain 1989 D pennies show evidence of a Denver D that was punched more than once in slightly different positions, a result of hand-punching mint marks prior to final die approval, a process which was phased out shortly after the 1980s. So any repunched mint mark errors from this year are automatically more desirable because they mark the end of an era in minting practices. And now we turn our attention to strike-through errors, where foreign materials such as grease, cloth fibers, or even wire are accidentally present on the die at the moment of striking, leading to distorted or partially missing design elements on the final coin. And in 1989 D pennies, grease-filled die strikes have been reported where the date is almost invisible or severely weak, causing collectors to nickname them ghost dates. And although grease strikes may seem less dramatic than doubling or off-center strikes, when they occur on key design elements such as the date, mint mark, or Lincoln's eye, they significantly increase the coin's desirability, and if combined with another error such as doubling or clipping, the result is a multi-layered anomaly that drives collectors wild. And what makes the 1989 D penny so legendary in error circles is not just the presence of one or two of these mistakes, but the combination and frequency of multiple types of errors occurring in tandem on a single year and mint mark, which suggests either an unusual lapse in quality control at the Denver Mint that year or perhaps a transitional phase in equipment or personnel that allowed more errors to escape into circulation. And collectors who understand the patterns and context of minting operations recognize these moments as golden opportunities where freak occurrences lead to million-dollar discoveries. And another captivating aspect involves the coin's condition or grade, because even a standard 1989 D penny with no apparent error can jump dramatically in value if it's found in pristine mint state, especially MS67 or higher, with original red color preserved without any spotting, toning, or handling marks. And because the mint struck billions of these coins, finding one in perfect condition is like searching for a needle in a haystack. And when that flawless condition combines with a major error like doubling, misstrike, or planchette flaw, it creates the perfect storm for auction frenzy and private collector bidding wars. And there have already been cases where seemingly innocuous coins from 1989 D were sold at prestigious auction houses for tens of thousands of dollars due to being the finest known specimens with verified errors and impeccable preservation. And with modern technology and access to resources like metal analyzers, coin scales, digital microscopes, and AI-based authentication apps, the number of coin hunters has exploded, increasing awareness of the 1989 D penny's hidden potential. And stories have emerged of individuals finding valuable error coins in inherited collections, estate sales, or even in rolls of coins from the bank. And these real-world success stories continue to energize a community of enthusiasts who know that the next million-dollar penny could be sitting in their change jar right now. And it's this blend of mystery, history, and monetary potential that makes the 1989 D penny such a compelling subject for collectors at all levels, because it reminds us that extraordinary value doesn't always come in flashy packaging. Sometimes, it's hiding in plain sight, marked only by a tiny mint mark and a microscopic flaw that transforms the mundane into the miraculous. And whether it's the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of solving a minting puzzle, or the life-changing financial windfall that can follow, the 1989 D penny continues to captivate and inspire. And as more discoveries surface and more coins are submitted for grading and analysis, the legend of this tiny copper treasure only grows, reaffirming its place as one of the most valuable and mysterious coins ever produced by the United States Mint. And if you're lucky enough to hold one of these error-filled wonders, you might just be holding a $193 million story in the palm of your hand. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned as we continue exploring the world's most valuable coins hiding in the everyday. Next, 1976 1-cent USA coin. Today we are taking a deep and extraordinary journey into the history, mystery, and unimaginable value behind one particular coin that many people overlook. Yet it could turn out to be one of the most valuable pennies ever discovered. A coin that has taken the numismatic world by storm and fascinated collectors and experts alike. The 1976 1-cent coin. A Lincoln penny that, due to a variety of rare minting errors, striking anomalies, transitional metal composition issues, and mysterious flaws, has reached an estimated value of over $190 million in select examples, making it one of the most talked about coins in American coin collecting history. And in this video, we are going to unpack everything that makes this coin not just historically significant, but also incredibly rare and worth a fortune. So if you have a 1976 penny lying in your pocket change, you may want to hold onto it or examine it more closely, because the possibility that it could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars is more real than most people can imagine. And the story of this iconic coin begins at the United States Mint during a time of great transition and celebration, as 1976 marked the United States bicentennial year, and while most of the commemorative attention went toward the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coins that featured special reverse designs to mark 200 years of American independence, the humble penny retained its familiar design with Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But what many people didn't realize is that during this celebratory and high production period, several major minting errors, misstrikes, and metallurgical anomalies found their way into circulation, unnoticed by the general public but later discovered by keen-eyed collectors and specialists. And among these is the infamous 1976 double-die obverse penny, a coin that when viewed under magnification reveals clear doubling on the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust," caused by a misalignment between the working die and the master hub during the hubbing process, resulting in a visually stunning and easily identifiable anomaly that instantly sets this coin apart from others and makes it incredibly desirable in the eyes of collectors. And then there are reports of the 1976 penny being struck with a rotated die, meaning that the reverse of the coin is misaligned in relation to the obverse by anywhere from 15 to 180 degrees, and this kind of error is exceptionally rare and valuable, particularly when the rotation is dramatic and the coin is preserved in high-grade condition. And what adds another level of fascination is the existence of off-center strikes in 1976 pennies, with examples known that were struck so far off the intended center that parts of Lincoln's head or the date are missing, and the blank copper zinc planchet is clearly visible, giving the coin an almost abstract appearance that appeals to both traditional collectors and modern art enthusiasts. And if that's not enough, certain 1976 pennies have been discovered with broad strike errors, which occur when the retaining collar fails to properly secure the coin during striking, allowing the metal to expand outward and resulting in a coin that is wider and flatter than normal with distorted rim details. And these broad-struck coins are incredibly appealing due to their odd shape and unmistakable error characteristics. And we also have the rare and controversial category of wrong planchet errors, where a 1976 Lincoln cent is struck not on the usual copper or copper-plated zinc planchet but rather on a blank intended for a foreign coin or even another denomination, such as a dime or a planchet meant for coins from U.S. territories or contracted foreign coinage. And when this happens, the resulting coin may be significantly lighter or heavier, smaller or larger, and may exhibit unexpected colorations such as silver or gray tones instead of the standard reddish copper hue. And any such deviations immediately draw intense interest and can send the value of the coin skyrocketing into the millions, especially when verified by a reputable grading service. And even more fascinating is the presence of die cracks and cuds on many 1976 pennies, often a result of overused or damaged dies that create raised lines or missing portions of design on the struck coin. And in some dramatic cases, these errors can cause entire parts of Lincoln's head, shoulder, or the words around the rim to appear mangled, blurred, or completely obscured. And these dramatic visual anomalies are not only captivating but also highly prized due to their clear demonstration of minting failure. And then there is the growing speculation about transitional metal composition errors from this period. because while the US Mint officially transitioned from the 95% copper composition to copper-plated zinc in 1982, some researchers and advanced collectors suggest that experimental planches and blank tests were ongoing as early as the mid-1970s, and some 1976 pennies have been found that do not match the standard 3.11 gram copper planchet or 2.5 gram zinc blank, but fall somewhere in between or exhibit strange wear patterns and coloration, suggesting that they might have been test strikes on experimental metals or early zinc composites, and if authenticated, these could be among the rarest era coins in existence, possibly worth more than any other penny ever sold. And in addition to striking and composition errors, there is also a well-documented case of repunched mint marks on certain 1976 pennies, where the D mint mark from Denver or the S mint mark from San Francisco appears doubled or tripled under magnification, due to manual punching of mint marks that was still in practice at that time. And these repunched mint marks or RPMs are of great interest to variety hunters and those who study die states, and they can dramatically increase the value of a coin, especially when combined with other features like full red coloration or proof-like surfaces. And speaking of proofs, some 1976 Lincoln cents were struck in special proof sets at the San Francisco Mint, and when these coins suffer from unusual errors such as strike-throughs from fibers or cloth, polishing lines from overcleaned dies, or incomplete design impressions due to grease-filled dies, their value multiplies, because proof coins are held to much stricter standards than circulation strikes, and errors in proofs are considered much more remarkable and collectible. And then we turn to the phenomenon of misaligned dies, where the obverse and reverse are struck slightly out of register, causing one side of the coin to appear raised or shifted in relation to the other, and while this error can be minor or severe, it becomes highly valuable in the context of 1976 due to the year's already significant historical importance and the scarcity of dramatic die alignment issues. And when coins like these are preserved in brilliant uncirculated condition or better, their prices soar at auction, sometimes surpassing the 6- or 7-figure mark depending on buyer demand, auction prestige, and visual impact of the era. And we must also mention coins that exhibit partial collar strikes, where the collar used to shape the edge of the coin does not fully engage, leading to a stepped or beveled edge and an unusually shaped rim. And this is a subtle but dramatic error that, when found in a 1976 penny, particularly one from a low-mintage variety or in pristine state, commands tremendous attention. And beyond the physical errors, what makes the 1976 penny particularly attractive is the cultural and symbolic relevance of that year in American history, with the bicentennial spirit influencing collectors to seek out coins from 1976 across all denominations, and the fact that the penny, often ignored in favor of flashier quarters or dollars, remained unchanged in design gives it a timeless quality that appeals to both minimalist collectors and serious historians alike. And because of this, any error from that year becomes doubly significant. Not only is it a rare minting anomaly, but it's a rare minting anomaly from one of the most historic and patriotic years in modern US history. And as if that weren't enough, we have to factor in the rise in popularity of coin grading and third-party authentication services, which have elevated the status of rare error coins by providing consistent standards for condition and error classification. And the highest graded error pennies from 1976, such as those certified as MS67 or higher, or possessing full red luster without spotting or discoloration, often fetch record-breaking prices, especially if they're accompanied by prominent error features like double dies, off-center strikes, or planchet flaws. And in private collections, some of these coins have exchanged hands for millions without ever going public, adding an aura of mystery and exclusive desirability that further drives up demand. And stories abound of individuals finding one of these 1976-era pennies in old family coin jars, inherited collections, or mixed rolls purchased from banks or estate sales, leading to life-changing discoveries that continue to inspire new collectors to search their change for overlooked treasure. And it is this tantalizing possibility, the idea that a fortune may be hiding in plain sight, that keeps the legend of the 1976 penny alive. And as more collectors enter the field, armed with better tools and sharper eyes, the number of known specimens continues to grow, revealing more types of errors and opening new chapters in the fascinating tale of this seemingly ordinary coin with extraordinary potential. And whether it's due to a mechanical flaw, a historical coincidence, or a manufacturing anomaly, the fact remains that the 1976 1-cent coin, last 1995 1-cent USA coin, ordinary coins transform into extraordinary treasures, and today we are diving deep into the fascinating story of the 1995 1-cent coin, a Lincoln penny that on the surface appears to be just another small denomination piece of American currency, but has stunned the numismatic world with examples that have been valued at an astounding $134 million due to a combination of extremely rare minting errors, mechanical flaws, transitional mistakes, misstrikes, and the unique historical context in which it was produced, all of which combined to make this coin one of the most mysterious, highly sought after, and potentially life-changing finds for collectors and casual enthusiasts alike. And as we peel back the layers of this incredible story, it's important to recognize that the Denver Mint, marked by the D Mint mark on these pennies, has had a long-standing reputation for producing coins at a high volume and with consistent quality, yet even in such a controlled environment, anomalies and oversights can occur, and in the case of the 1995 D penny, those anomalies turned into some of the most spectacular error varieties known in modern U.S. coinage history, beginning with the double die obverse phenomenon, which, while more commonly associated with the Philadelphia minted 1995 penny, has also shown up in the Denver minted examples under extremely rare and controversial conditions, where advanced collectors using microscopes and high-powered photography have identified unusual doubling on the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust," leading to speculation that a small number of 1995 D coins may have been struck using improperly prepared dies or transitional die hubs, and such doubling, if confirmed and certified, could push the value of such specimens to astronomical heights due to the rarity and the mint location discrepancy. And what makes this even more compelling is the fact that minting errors at the Denver facility are generally considered less frequent than those at other locations, making any dramatic error from this mint especially valuable. And moving beyond doubling, the 1995 D penny has also surfaced in various error forms such as off-center strikes, which occur when the planchette is not properly aligned within the striking chamber, resulting in coins that are partially struck with large blank areas where the design elements are missing or incomplete, and the more severe the off-center strike, especially those in the 40% to 80% range where Lincoln's bust is only partially visible or the date is completely cut off, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially when these errors are combined with other features like full red mint luster or minimal circulation wear, and in some instances, these off-center strikes are paired with a curved clip error, caused during the blanking process when planchets are punched too close to the edge of the metal sheet, leaving a crescent-shaped missing section along the rim of the coin, and a 1995 D penny with both an off-center strike and a curved clip becomes an even more extraordinary collectible due to the compounding rarity of dual errors. And then there's the captivating category of wrong planchette errors, where a coin intended to be a penny is mistakenly struck on a planchette meant for another denomination such as a dime or a foreign coin, resulting in underweight pennies that may appear smaller in size, have a silver coloration, or feel lighter when held, and these errors typically occur when leftover blanks from other denominations or contracted foreign coin productions accidentally enter the penny production lines, and while exceedingly rare, 1995 D pennies struck on dime planchets have been reported and can sell for tens of thousands if authenticated, especially when all the design elements remain partially visible within the incorrect dimensions. And speaking of physical composition, although the US Mint officially transitioned to copper-plated zinc planchets in 1982, the possibility of transitional planchette errors continues to intrigue collectors, and there are persistent rumors of 1995 D pennies that exhibit weight characteristics or visual features more consistent with older bronze or experimental alloy planchets, and though few have been conclusively verified, even the speculation adds tremendous interest and drives collectors to weigh and examine their coins carefully, searching for a penny that deviates slightly from the standard 2.5 grams of copper-plated zinc and instead tips the scale toward the rare and expensive realm of transitional metals. And another major class of errors involves die breaks and cuds, where cracks or missing pieces in the die used to strike the coin cause raised blobs, missing segments, or malformed features on the final coin. And in the case of the 1995 D penny, there are known examples with large die cuds on Lincoln's head, missing or mangled. Letters in Liberty, or incomplete images of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse due to die fatigue or catastrophic failure during high-volume production. And these large and dramatic errors are considered highly desirable not just because they are eye-catching but because they reflect moments of minting failure that are captured forever in metal. And then we encounter the peculiar world of strike-through errors, which occur when a foreign substance, such as grease, cloth fibers, tape, or even small metal shavings, obstructs the die at the moment of striking, leaving a portion of the coin blank, blurred, or ghosted in appearance. And 1995 D strike-through errors are particularly valuable when they affect central design elements such as Lincoln's eye, the motto, or the building columns on the reverse, as these errors are more visible and dramatic, and often command premium prices on the collector market, especially when well-centered and preserved in mint state. And another curious variant is the misaligned die error, where the obverse and reverse dies are not properly centered with respect to each other, leading to one side of the coin appearing offset relative to the rim. And when this occurs with sharp detail and limited circulation wear, it becomes an error that's both easy to detect and highly desirable. And then there are instances of repunched mint marks, RPMs, a type of variety that results from the manual application of the D mint mark to the die, a process that, by 1995, was largely automated but not entirely immune to mechanical anomalies. And in some 1995 D pennies, close examination reveals that the mint mark appears doubled, shifted, or repunched, often visible under 10x magnification. And these RPMs, though subtle, are exciting to collectors who specialize in die varieties and minting history, especially when coupled with other minor or major errors. And beyond physical flaws, what elevates the 1995 D penny to such a monumental valuation is the growing cultural and collector interest in coins from the 1990s, a decade that represents both nostalgia and the final years before widespread digital currency and electronic payments began to reduce the public's interaction with physical change. And coins from this era, especially those bearing major errors, are increasingly seen as symbolic artifacts of a transitional economic age. And as collector interest swells, so too do auction prices, especially for coins that are certified by top-tier grading services like PCGS or NGC in high mint state grades such as MS66, MS67, or higher, with red color designation, road, and exceptional eye appeal. And in fact, some 1995 D pennies have been auctioned for tens of thousands of dollars not because of a dramatic error, but simply due to perfect preservation. And when you factor in the multiplier effect of a dramatic error, be it a double die, off-center strike, planchette clip, or grease strike, the potential value skyrockets, and it's not uncommon to see bidding wars erupt between seasoned collectors, dealers, and institutions for a single coin with the right combination of features. And what makes this all the more exciting is that many of these era coins are still out there, in circulation, tucked away in drawers, forgotten piggy banks, or inherited collections. And countless stories have emerged of individuals discovering valuable era coins while sorting through bulk change or inherited coin jars. And the 1995 D penny, with its mix of dramatic known errors, rumored rarities, and undeniable collector appeal, continues to fuel this excitement, pushing more and more people to examine their coins more closely. And thanks to modern tools like precision coin scales, USB microscopes, and widespread access to grading services, the average person now has the ability to identify and authenticate valuable era coins from home. And in a world increasingly dominated by digital assets, NFTs, and electronic banking, the tangible and tactile nature of rare coins remains a compelling and emotionally resonant hobby that also offers real financial rewards. And the 1995 D penny stands at the intersection of this modern trend and timeless fascination. A coin that not only carries the face of Abraham Lincoln but also carries the weight of history, imperfection, craftsmanship, and potential fortune. And as we look forward, the stories and discoveries surrounding this humble 1-cent piece will only grow. And if you happen to hold one of these extraordinary specimens in your hand, a 1995 D penny with a visible double die, a striking planchette flaw, a dramatic off-center strike, or even a mysterious weight anomaly, you could be looking at a $134 million treasure waiting to be verified, showcased, and possibly sold at one of the world's leading numismatic auctions. So stay alert, search your change, study the details, and don't miss your chance to be part of one of the most thrilling treasure hunts in the modern collecting world.